I never thought I'd be the kind of person who thinks about suicide. I've always handled my own stuff, kept moving, kept showing up. But this time, it's different. Everything feels stacked against me. Money's tight. My back's wrecked from years of labor. Mom died last year, and I still feel like I'm walking around with a hole in my chest. And I haven't told anyone how bad it's gotten, because I'm not even sure what I'd say. I just know I'm tired, and part of me wants out.
What David's describing is more common than most people realize. Suicidal thoughts can emerge in response to grief, chronic pain, relationship breakdowns, unemployment, trauma, or just relentless pressure. It's not about weakness, it's about overwhelm. When the emotional pain outweighs perceived options, the mind starts searching for escape routes. That's not a character flaw. It's a sign the nervous system is in survival mode.
I don't even think I want to die. I just want some relief. I want someone to see me, not just wave and ask how I am, but really see what I'm carrying. I want the pain to make sense. Because right now, it just feels like I'm broken in a way no one can fix. And when I look ahead, I don't see a future. I just see more of this.
This is why normalizing suicidal ideation is so important. It allows people to speak it out loud before it escalates. When someone says they're not coping, we must listen without judgment. Suicidal thoughts are not a diagnosis, they're a symptom. And if we explore the trigger, grief, chronic illness, trauma, financial stress, we can address the root cause and often see those thoughts lessen or resolve.
I've started thinking about it more seriously. Not just what if, but how, when, what I'd need to do to make it quick, quiet. I don't think I'll actually go through with it. But then again, sometimes I think I already have in my head. It doesn't scare me the way it used to. It feels like a way out, like control, and that scares me more than anything.
This is a shift from passive to active suicidal ideation, when the idea of dying becomes less abstract and more structured. We look for signs like specific plans, intent, access to means, or rehearsing the act in one's mind. The danger increases as the emotional pain narrows a person's thinking. They lose sight of alternatives. What David says here is critical. The moment suicidal thoughts feel comforting is when we need to step in.
I don't talk to anyone about this. What's the point? I don't want to be locked up. I don't want to scare my partner. I don't want to be a burden to the few people who still check in. So I put on the face, say I'm fine, but I'm not. I'm not sleeping. I barely eat. I cry when I'm alone, and then I feel stupid for crying. I can't seem to climb out. It's like I'm underwater and everyone else is breathing just fine.
This isolation is deadly. Shame, fear, and stigma stop people from reaching out, even when they desperately need help. But here's the truth. People don't need to be fixed. They need to be seen, heard, and understood. Suicidal ideation thrives in silence. When we make space for people to speak openly, we break that silence, and we start saving lives.
I've picked the day. It's not a dramatic date, just one where I know I'll be alone. I've got what I need. No one would find me until it's done. I've even written a letter. Not a goodbye, just an explanation, or maybe a justification. It feels like I'm doing the right thing, taking the weight off everyone else. I genuinely believe they'll be better off. It's not sadness anymore. It's calm. That scares me too, but not enough to stop.
This is what we call lethality planning. David has moved into a high-risk phase. He has a clear plan, access to means, timing, and the belief that his death is a kindness to others. This false sense of calm is dangerous. It can look like someone is getting better when they're actually resolved to die. That's why observation, history, and collateral from people who know the person are vital.
I wasn't planning on saying anything, but my partner asked if I'd paid the electricity bill, and I snapped, yelled at her for no reason. Then I cried, like really cried. She froze. I think that's when she knew. She didn't ask what's wrong. She just said, "You're not okay, are you?" And I couldn't lie. I just shook my head.
That moment of rupture, the anger, the emotion, it can open a door. Suicidal people don't always ask for help directly, but they may show it through agitation, changes in behavior, or emotional outbursts. David's partner didn't panic. She noticed, she stayed calm, and she asked a non-threatening question. That was enough to start the chain.
The crisis team came that afternoon. I thought they'd put me in a padded room or something, but they didn't. The guy just sat with me, asked real questions, listened, didn't make me feel like a problem. He talked to me like I mattered. And when he asked if I felt safe to go home, I was honest. I didn't. And he said, "Okay, let's work with that. No judgment, just options."
When someone presents with suicidal ideation and intent, we assess the sharpness of risk. Ideation, plan, access, intent, history, exposure, and protective factors. We look for insight, impulsivity, support structures, and the possibility of safe planning. David's honesty saved him. So did a response grounded in compassion and skill. The goal isn't to punish someone for being unwell, it's to meet them where they are and walk them back from the edge.
They admitted me to the hospital that night. I didn't sleep. I couldn't. Everything was too bright, too loud, too unfamiliar. I felt exposed, like I'd been peeled open. Nurses were kind, but I didn't trust it yet. I didn't want kindness. I wanted quiet. Still, I took the meds they gave me. I didn't ask what they were. I didn't care. I was just too tired to fight.
Early admission can feel disorienting. Safety is the priority, but that doesn't always mean comfort. Patients often experience emotional exhaustion, detachment, and a lack of control. Some comply with treatment not out of hope, but out of surrender. That's okay. Engagement takes time. Building trust is part of the therapeutic process, not a precondition for it.
Psychiatrists asked questions I didn't have answers to about my childhood, my moods, my past diagnoses. They mentioned depression, maybe bipolar, maybe trauma. It felt like they were trying to pin me down. I wanted to say, "I don't care what it is, just make it stop." But instead I just nodded. I didn't know if I was being understood or dissected.
This phase is often about diagnostic clarification. Suicidal ideation can arise from several conditions: mood disorders like depression or bipolar, trauma-related conditions like PTSD or CPTSD, psychosis, personality disorders, even grief or medical illness. It's not about slapping on a label. It's about understanding the trigger and tailoring treatment, but it can feel overwhelming or impersonal for the person experiencing it.
They changed my meds. Again, said the old ones might have been making things worse. I didn't argue. I started seeing a psychologist too, but I didn't open up much. I still didn't believe it would help. Everything felt temporary, like I was just passing time in a holding space, waiting to break again.
Medication adjustments are common, especially if the person has had limited response, intolerable side effects, or possible misdiagnosis. Mood stabilizers, antidepressants, or antipsychotics might be considered depending on the presentation. Psychotherapy begins as well, but progress is slow. Suicidal clients often feel hopeless and guarded. That's expected. Consistency and patience are critical here.
The first real shift didn't happen until a week later. The psychologist asked me how I felt about the meds. I said I was still numb, but I couldn't say if that was better than how I felt before. She asked if I thought they were working. I wanted to say no, but I couldn't. Something had changed. I was thinking a bit clearer, but it wasn't enough to make me feel better. I didn't know what I wanted from all this, but I guess a little relief would have been nice.
Gradual changes are common when initiating treatment. The first week or two of medication can be rocky. There may be side effects or minimal improvement. Suicidal individuals often question if treatment will work, which can lead to frustration or even increased isolation. In therapy, building a rapport and slowly opening up can help break through the numbness or disconnection. Patience is key.
Then one day, I woke up and realized I hadn't thought about ending it. Not for a few hours, maybe longer. It was a strange feeling, like I was just floating, not fixed, but out of the immediate storm. I didn't get excited or relieved. It wasn't an epiphany, but for once, I could breathe without that crushing weight on my chest. I didn't know how long it would last, but I wanted to hold on to it.
This is a sign of improvement, though it's still fragile. Sometimes relief from the constant barrage of suicidal thoughts doesn't feel like euphoria. It feels like peace, even if just for a moment. This pause from the storm is crucial for both David and his clinicians to assess. It's an opportunity to build trust in the process, to stabilize, and to continue addressing underlying issues that lead to suicidality.
But even with that small relief, I wasn't feeling hopeful yet. I'd spent years in this darkness, and even now, when things were better, I couldn't see a way out. I didn't want to disappoint anyone, but but I didn't know how to tell them that I still didn't feel okay. The problem was, I didn't know what would make me feel okay.
This is a critical moment in treatment, the gap between safety and hope. David's response is common. Even as suicidal thoughts subside, the person often struggles with a lack of meaning or direction. The darkness has been the norm, and while safety is a relief, it doesn't immediately provide answers for what comes next. This is where long-term therapy and additional support can be life-changing.
I wasn't alone in the hospital, though. My partner, Emma, was there. She came every day, bringing me some sense of normalcy, though she didn't know what to say half the time. I could tell she was scared, and I wasn't much help. She kept asking if I was okay, but I couldn't give her a real answer. Even when I said, "I'm fine," she didn't believe me. She knew something was wrong, but couldn't put her finger on it.
When treating someone like David, it's critical to gather comprehensive information from those closest to him, especially his partner, Emma. Her input provides key insights into David's history, emotional state, and family dynamics. While we already know the current situation, we need to understand the bigger picture, the timeline of David's struggles, family history, and other factors that may have contributed to this moment. To build a strong plan of care, we ask Emma targeted questions about past events that might have shaped David's current mental health. These include: what is the history of David's mental health? Has he experienced significant life events like trauma, grief, or loss? Has David had any previous mental health admissions? If so, when and what were the circumstances? Has David ever had suicidal thoughts or a suicidal event in the past? What's his family history? Is there any history of mental illness, substance use, or suicide in his family? What is David's coping history? How has he typically handled stress, loss, or emotional distress? Does he have healthy coping mechanisms, or is there a pattern of using substances or withdrawing? How is David's substance use history? Has he ever used substances as a way to cope with emotional pain? What are Emma's feelings about the current situation? How does she feel about David's condition? Is she able to cope with this stress? Can she continue supporting David through his recovery process? How does Emma feel about moving forward with David in her life? And does she feel emotionally equipped to continue this journey? What kind of support does Emma need? Does she need access to therapy, support groups, or other resources to help her manage the emotional burden of supporting David? By gathering this information, we can better understand the full context of David's struggles and how they affect not just him, but those closest to him. It's vital for Emma to be fully engaged in the treatment process, so we also assess her emotional capacity to continue offering support. It's not just about helping David, it's about ensuring his partner has the resources she needs to cope as well. This dual focus helps prevent burnout and strengthens the relationship, which ultimately supports David's recovery. Through these conversations, we gain valuable insights into family dynamics, historical factors that may have led to his current crisis, and areas where we can intervene to make sure both David and Emma have the tools they need moving forward.
I didn't realize how much I was putting on Emma. She was holding everything together, trying to be strong for me. It felt like I was constantly pulling her down, but she was just there, even when I didn't want her to be. I'm not sure how she managed, but I could see the exhaustion in her eyes. She was holding so much for both of us.
It's important for us to recognize the emotional toll on the partner in these situations. For Emma, it's not just about being there for David. It's about navigating her own feelings of helplessness, fear, and uncertainty. For some partners, supporting someone with suicidal ideation can bring up past trauma or feelings of inadequacy, and that's why it's crucial we offer support for them as well. Emma needs to know she has the right resources to help her manage these overwhelming emotions, whether it's therapy, family support, or self-care strategies.
The dark thoughts don't just disappear. It's like trying to walk through mud. Each step is harder than the last, and I don't always know where I'm going. But there's something different now. I'm starting to feel like I don't have to walk this path alone. There are moments when I'm thinking clearly. I can hear my therapist's voice in my head telling me to take it one step at a time. And I'm trying. I can see Emma is still here, even though I don't always know how to thank her for sticking around. I don't know if she truly believes things can get better, but I want to believe that they can. I want to be here for her, not just be a burden. Maybe, just maybe, I'm not as invisible as I thought I was.
Recovery from suicidal ideation is never a straight path, but it's important to acknowledge that any step forward is progress. For David, the road is still hard, but his commitment to working with his treatment team, his therapist, and his loved ones is crucial. Recovery isn't about being cured. It's about learning to live with these thoughts and emotions more healthily. It's about building a new toolkit of coping strategies and support systems. In David's case, the focus needs to shift from just managing the crisis to exploring what keeps him grounded. He started to make small changes, engaging with therapy, reconnecting with family, and even challenging the way he views his role in Emma's life. The support system around him, including Emma's involvement, is vital to creating a sense of belonging, and it helps David find his footing in the world again.
I've been trying to take it day by day. I've started reaching out when I feel like I'm slipping. It's not easy. Some days are better than others. Some days I just want to give up again, but I know what that leads to. I know the pain I feel inside is temporary, and there's a way through it if I just don't give up. I'm learning to accept the bad days, but I'm starting to see the good ones too.
David's journey to recovery isn't linear. He still has days where the struggle feels overwhelming, and that's normal. What's crucial here is the resilience he's building by acknowledging the difficulty of his situation, but still choosing to fight through it. We help David by focusing on his strengths, the fact that he's reaching out when he's slipping, that he's acknowledging his pain without letting it define him completely. These small victories matter. Another key element in recovery is normalizing the ups and downs. Recovery doesn't mean being free of all negative thoughts or emotional turmoil. It means having the tools to manage them and knowing that he doesn't have to face them alone.
I still have to fight every day, but I'm not doing it by myself anymore. I've got my therapist, I've got Emma, and I've got people who care. It's hard to see it sometimes, but I'm starting to believe that I'm worth saving. I don't know what the future holds, but for the first time in a long time, I'm willing to see what happens.
And this is the turning point for David. He's starting to see himself as someone worthy of life again, someone who has value beyond the pain. While we can't predict every step of his recovery journey, his willingness to keep fighting, to engage with the support system, and to trust in his therapist is what lays the foundation for a healthier future. Recovery takes time. There's no immediate cure, no magic fix. But with sustained effort, the right support, and a focus on long-term mental health, David's recovery is possible. The key is maintaining hope and continuing to build the structures that will support him, both within himself and through the people around him.
I've learned that recovery isn't a race. It's not about getting back to how I used to be, but about learning how to live with who I am now. I'm not perfect, and I'm not going to pretend that I won't have tough days ahead. But for the first time, I feel like I can handle it. Maybe it's not about being happy all the time, but finding peace in the chaos.
This is the true essence of recovery. It's about finding acceptance, even in the face of hardship. It's about learning to cope with life's challenges in healthier ways and creating a new sense of self that doesn't rely on perfection or immediate happiness. David is beginning to understand that the goal isn't to eliminate the pain. It's about managing it and not letting it define him. By continuing with therapy, maintaining a strong support system, and recognizing that setbacks are part of the process, David can slowly build a new life for himself. Recovery is possible, and with time, it will become easier. If you or someone you know is struggling with thoughts of suicide, it's important to understand that suicidal ideation is a symptom, not an illness. It can often be triggered by overwhelming emotions or challenging life events, but the good news is that it can be treated with the right support. By identifying the underlying trigger and addressing it, the symptoms can be managed and the pain can be alleviated. There are resources available to help you through this difficult time, and you're not alone. In the description below, you'll find links to support networks, crisis helplines, and mental health services that can provide immediate assistance. Don't wait to get the help you deserve. Remember, recovery is a journey. It may feel overwhelming at times, but every step forward counts. It's okay to reach out and ask for help. You're worth it. If this video helped, please like, share, and subscribe to the Resilience Echo. Your support helps reach others who might be struggling in silence. And if that's you, please stay. You're not alone. We've created a free printable toolkit called the Mental Health Clarity Pages. Gentle, practical pages to help you feel calmer when life gets overwhelming. You'll also find the 30-day Mental Health Companion Journal, a deeper resource to support calm, clarity, and reflection, one step at a time. You can find both at theresilienceecho.com/clarity-pages. Thank you for watching. You matter. You're not a burden, and the world is better with you in it. We'll see you in the next video.